Millions of Americans take vitamin supplements every day, but what they don't realize is that some of those supplements have many side effects, even worse than some prescription drugs. Joining me now to talk about this is Dr. Tom Schneider, author of the new book, A Physician's Apology. Dr. Schneider, it seems like almost every week there's a new story about a supplement that's causing heart failure, brain damage, liver damage, you name it. It seems like every week there's some new story there. And I think probably the troubling thing that most people identify with here is we believe that there's an FDA that's supposed to be solving all this. Tell us how the supplement business actually works, the supplement dangers related to just simply going to the store and buying whatever's being sold on the shelf.
Well, the line you made, Pap, is exactly where we are in terms of supplements. The FDA has no paradigm. It is a wild west out there, Michael. And the reason I say that is because all of us, including myself, felt for a long time the FDA is monitoring all of this. There is no monitoring. There's absolutely zilch as far as I'm concerned. In fact, the only negativity that happens to supplement manufacturers is if they state that a particular supplement will cure a disease. Now, they get around that by saying, can help, is beneficial in. They use phrases like that, but they cannot use the phrase will cure or helps to cure. That's their only...
Yeah, Dr. Schneider, one thing I think is incredible is that most people don't understand this, but the way the laws are written, the FDA has to assume that a supplement is safe until people die using. Now, think how crazy that is. The FDA goes into this. They have a manufacturer selling snake oil. Snake oil's on the shelf at the local grocery store, and until people start dying, the FDA has to assume that everything about the supplement is fine. Isn't that part of the problem here?
It's unbelievably outrageous, but that's why there's a book out, The $2 Trillion Myth about supplements, and that's what is expected to be by 2025. It will be in the trillions of dollars of money spent. And why? Because patients are afraid of some of the medications, and rightly so, that they're prescribed by their physician, and so supplements seem like the perfect answer. I mean, Michael, they are organic. They're natural. What better words to use for snake oil?
Okay, so what you have is the only information that the consumer has is the advertisement about the product and the advertisement actually on the product, because that is not FDA-approved labeling. That's simply manufacturers saying, if you do this, we're going to change your life in a way that's going to make you smarter, or you're going to have better respiratory function, or better cardiac function, or you're going to be able to sleep at night. All of this is not part of anything where the government is actually looking over their shoulders. This is simply a supplement manufacturer saying, this is what we want to say, and by golly, this is what we're going to say. Nobody's going to stop us from doing it until people start dying. Did I get that right?
Very sophisticated comparison of nothing more than, you remember the pictures of the fellow with the high top black hat and the black jacket, and he had a horse and buggy, and it was Dr. Killjoy's cure-all, and he was selling for $1. It used to be on Matt Dillon, Gunsmoke. It's no different. It's no different. There's very little. Now, there are some supplements, Michael, that have been shown in clinical trials to be effective. D3 happens to be one of them. It happens to be effective and with very little consequences in terms of side effects. Omega-3, fish oil. But I can show you a book that has 2,500, and we're just touching the surface, individual supplements that are sold for warts, heart disease, diabetes. It really comes down to that we as a culture are looking for the pill to cure what you and I know should have been prevented long ago with healthy living.
Okay, well, let me. It even gets crazier than that. I mean, first of all, the supplement can go on the shelf without anybody being given evidence that the supplement works, or worse yet, that the supplement won't kill you. That's the first thing. The second thing is that the manufacturer can put the product on the shelf knowing that there's side effects and choose not to give any warnings about the side effects.
Absolutely true.
So that's that. Okay. So I look at something that you wrote. You were talking about something called bitter orange. Use bitter orange to explain how crazy this process has become.
Yeah, so bitter orange is a supplement that was found to be helpful, quote unquote, by advertisers in helping you to lose weight. Now, what is it really? It was a stimulant. No different than amphetamines, if you will, that, if I use that word, people will go, I think those are bad. But bitter orange, Michael, come on now, we put that in our drinks. It's got to be wonderful. No, raises high blood pressure, increased risk of stroke, increased risk of cardiac death from a natural supplement. And it is in zillions of different products.
And let me point out, it's not anywhere on the label that it'll cause you to die. There's no mention of that. Okay, add to that the fact of synergy. When you have a product on the shelf and it has several different kind of, let's say, herbal contents. You put 4 or 5 different herbs in there, and it's supposed to cure your sleeping. You're going to wake up happy in the morning. You're going to be able to run 10 miles because they've put all these herbs in there together, and everything's going to be better for you. Talk about the synergy of all that.
Yeah, I think the synergy is so important because nobody mentions it. You are, but most people would understand if I said, listen, there's a synergy in using the medications that have been prescribed to you. Your gastroenterologist prescribes some, your family practice prescribes some, your heart doctor. Those all have synergistic competing effects. But nobody looks at the synergistic downside of supplements because they're natural. So when you add bitter orange, for example, with, I've got a little cold, I'm going to take some neosynephrine nose spray, another, if you will, we call them big words, sympathomimetic, but an increaser of blood pressure, the increase of strokes, all of those rise dramatically. And
So in other words, you're taking you're taking some kind of herbal supplement off the shelf, or some kind of get bigger, get quicker, get stronger kind of supplement. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, you don't realize that what that's doing is raising your blood pressure tremendously, because most people don't check their blood pressure day to day. Add to that 1 squirt or 2 squirts of this nose inhalant, and all of a sudden, you reach critical mass.
You at critical mass. And the names are even wonderful. I mean, who would fight ginseng? Has a nice Asian attitude towards it. Must be wonderful. Add ginseng to bitter orange. Oh my gosh, you've got a major catastrophic hypertensive problem going on. Even omega-3, which is fish oil. Everybody's heard of fish oil. It's supposed to be really good for you, and it is. There are lots of studies that show that the proper amounts of omega-3 are effective. However, if you suddenly decide you want to have cataract surgery, or you're going to have your gallbladder out, omega-3 will make you bleed. Not good for the surgeon, and certainly not good for you postoperatively.
Yeah, okay. Well, let me add some other points to this as we go through this analysis. Contaminants. Along with synergy, you also have contaminants of these products that are coming in from China, India, all over the country. Talk about how contaminant is so dangerous for some of these supplements that you need to try to understand.
Yeah, it's tough to get your hands on it because there are so many different manufacturers. Even if you have a brand name, they're getting their product from India or China. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, of course.
So that in itself will fool you. I'm going to give you one quick example. There's a supplement called DHEA. And DHEA is actually a very potent hormone. We have it in our body, our adrenals make it, but it's also something you can take as a supplement. Therefore, could be potentially dangerous. We took 25 bottles of DHEA from different companies and studied them. And they all had 25 milligrams of DHEA in them. But when we studied them, only one of the 25 bottles had 3 milligrams. None of them had 25 milligrams, and most of them were sawdust.
And there was no need for the FDA to come. I mean, the FDA, no oversight by the FDA, products being sold along with another credible product where they say 25 milligrams is here, and they're actually telling truth, and it really
Correct.
is there. Okay, but add to that, don't you also have the contaminant issue of finding pesticides and heavy metals and actual
huge.
prescription medication used in some of these supplements?
No, absolutely. In fact, one of the fun things to do is to take some of those supplements. Now, we know that iron can be toxic. It's a good thing, helps make red blood cells, but too much of it will hurt you and I. It'll ruin our hearts. It'll ruin anybody's hearts. So you can take some supplements, spread them out on a piece of white paper, and take a magnet over them. And particles of the supplement will stick to the magnet. Why? Because there are actual iron particles, non-absorbed, irritating, toxic iron particles that can be drawn out of a pill onto a magnet. Now, how crazy is that? But all of the other contaminants, the chlorines, the sulfides, are horrific.
Well, let me go real quickly. We got about 30 seconds. Let me go through something. First of all, there's some tips. Avoid supplements if you don't need them, obviously, and unless you have reliable information. Select supplements only according to what you need. If you need D, then just take D. Don't take other mixtures. Ask your physicians before you take them. Avoid supplements that are more herbal than not. Those are some very basic things that you've laid out in the book that you wrote about this. But I think the average American thinks, let me grab it from the shelf. It's going to make me feel better.
Don't self-prescribe.
Dr. Schneider, thank you for joining me. Hopefully people will listen to this and do a little bit more investigating on their own.
Love it, Michael. Thank you for having me.